Hello? Yippers. Alright. We are supposed to be live again. Hello there. Stream might be a little bit laggy today. It's been a while since this computer's been up and running. So it's dragging its ass a bit too slow here. But yeah, we're back. Back up and back la. That's what we are. We are back up and la la. Now I'm back, you know, from the probably gonna start. We may need to regain our views. I mean, we did stop at a good point. Sad, but you know, it's what it is. It's what it is. Oh, what's up, News? How you doing? Yes, we are back. We are back from vacation. Welcome back, Nana. Yeah, I mean, lots of things have been transpiring since I have been gone, and we're gonna run it down because a lot of things has happened. I'm doing good. Just came home from a vacay. It's pretty cool. Let's see. Multiple times we've seen Ukraine turn red. Yeah, multiple times we've seen, you know, Ukraine turn completely red over the days here. But we have more. We had a video that was in Russia. This is in Moscow, or I believe nearby Moscow. Look at this. I'm not sure what that was. Maybe some kind of, no, I mean, I don't really know. I mean, it looks like it's quite a big fire. It looks like maybe an oil depot or something. Really, I don't know. Did it take out some wires? Yeah, look at that. So that was in, I'm turning down these streams real quick so I don't have it so far up. There we go. Yeah, that was in Moscow. We've had multiple things coming in. Polish pilots are ready to use their weapons without hesitation in the case of emergencies on the border with Belarus. One thing I've been looking at, sorry, is the indications that, you know, Poland is ready to pretty much do what it takes to defend their country without having to auction. Oh, really? All right. Thank you, News. I've been out of it. You heard? All right. I mean, the indications that I'm seeing, which is Poland is ready to defend, holy shit, at all costs, their territory. And to me, that makes sense. You know, historically, they have had some troubles. Let's put it like that. To me, it seems to me, it seems to me that any aggression from Belarus or Wagner will be met by a very large force and a very quick result. And that's, you know, Poland. Poland doesn't seem to have the patience to wait on NATO to allow or to even instate Article 5. What's really, I mean, the indications is, you know, you don't invoke Article 4 so you can invoke Article 5. When you invoke Article 5, you go to war. But if a country's attacked, you don't have time to then say, we're going to call the NATO countries together and decide if we're going to call on Article 5. You know, you just go to war. Or at least the country in question. You know, and then the other NATO countries have to oblige and help this country because it's an alliance. You know, it certainly seems to me that Poland, no matter what happens, is ready and will defend and will not be waiting on NATO. And NATO with these, well, wouldn't even call them leaders. I would call them, well, I mean, listen, these guys, the leaders that we have, are smart people. You know, they know what they're doing. Certainly more than Russia does. But I do happen to think that we may have become a bit more scarce in our salt when it comes to how you doing, Witchy? In result when it comes to, you know, hitting back against an aggression from another country. But at the same time, we we need to just show that we are not afraid to go war against Russia. We are not afraid to defend our countries, and we are not afraid to, as I said, defend our countries. You know, I mean, it really, I mean, the aggression that's coming from Russia, really, I mean, if we, as a NATO alliance, then choose to say, oh, we're not going to attack, then that's, you know, bullshit. You know, I don't know. We had shaded drones entering Romania here earlier. Tudor Carnage, the mayor of the Catalonia commune in Tosia, told Digi 24 about the terrifying moments that the locals went through on Wednesday morning after the drone attack on the port of Izmail, which Izmail is in Ukraine, I believe. And also another thing, NATO will not be invoking Article 4 when it comes to the violation of the Belarusian helicopter that did cross into Polish territory doing exercises in in Belarus, which also is further indications that they are in fact doing exercises in in Belarus along that border. And now we know. And now you have 2 helicopters going in over. But this I believe, which is, you know, scarce. This was recorded in Romania. Yeah, drones flying all over. Imagine being so close that you can hear a gunfire. Is that gunfire? It just sounds like gunfire. Maybe some kind of anti-aircraft or something trying to shoot down the drones, maybe. Oh, look at that. I mean, they're definitely reporting this. I mean, they could see this happening. They've always been able to see the attacks when it does happen. But, you know, it seems to me that there are more and more reports of Russia getting ready for some kind of large-scale attacks. Some reports even reporting Russia has perhaps massed up a force of 30 ships. I didn't know they had that many left. But apparently we're hearing about this readiness of this sort of a massive attack of something happening, I think, along this front line, or possibly anywhere else. I mean, we don't know, right? There has been some people saying that there was some buildup along with the Kharkiv, but at the same time, I just you you can't really know what they're gonna go for. I mean, when you sit here and talk much about what we think they're gonna go for, we can't know, right? I mean, we can't know. Yes, I am back. After the increasing success of sorry, my bad. After the actual increasing success of the Ukrainian army on the front line these past days I've been gone, we've hearing a lot about how the counteroffensive may have picked up its trails in many, many ways. I mean, I haven't really followed it up as much as I probably should have, but there's been kind of a larger pushbacks on the front areas that are possibly being taken completely, with other areas in where the Russians have somewhat pushed back, and we're seeing a difference in the Russian attacks now. Before they were pushing on the whole of the Kharkiv front. Now they're really just pushing somewhere, which is, to me, there's a really dangerous situation here. I mean, listen, the Ukrainians are able to keep the Russians from encircling. And Russians don't really, I don't think, have the, not only capacity, I mean, the mental capacity, right, but the equipment or anything, really, to back up an encirclement. But what we're definitely seeing is that they're trying to push from here up here. Now, before, they had a whole line pushing this whole area right here. And this one is also trying to push down. Obviously, it's trying to encircle. That's what they're doing right now. If you push down here, you have a Ukrainian line here. It's I mean, if you're able to do something like that, but you know, the Russians with their limited experience, some of them with limited experience, I think would have it very hard figuring out how to do that. One of the other things that the Germans did in World War II was the Blitzkrieg. Now the Blitzkrieg was basically this, you know, encirclement and then take him out. Now the funny thing about how they did it, they would use a convoy of heavy armored vehicles in the front, protecting protecting the infantry riding in the back. The infantry would then stop a convoy on the side here, and then infantrymen would jump out side by side. They would all just, you know, jump out. You know, they would create a whole infantry line in a matter of minutes. And that's really, I mean, some of the tactics that you were trying to see from the Russian. They did these long columns, and they're trying to do the exact same thing, this Blitzkrieg effort, where they're pushing their heavy armored vehicles in the front, keeping the supply trucks in the middle, you know, because those are the most vulnerable, and then you put your air defense over top. But you know, I mean, that was the Germans. This is the Russians, and there's a lot to go into that, and there's a lot of equipment that goes into that. Really going for an encirclement here would be very dangerous for anybody. If you're trying to do something like that, you may go and make that thin line where you have to station, you know, infantrymen along the line. You know, when you go all the way back to the start of war, they were doing it. You go all the way back. Look at this right here, right? These sort of lines right here are really not the easiest to defend, because you got to remember there are infantrymen on both sides of this, and they weren't, you know, at the start of war, obviously they were able to somewhat encircle, and you can also see how they were able to take that town, right, and then they were pushed out of that town. They're following the road, which they're doing the same sort of tactic there. Then they were, you know, sort of met with these guys. These guys were pushing out here. These guys were pushing towards Kiev. Of course, these guys were also pushing towards Kiev. Over here was a big front push right there. But a lot of this over here was what... Sorry, I can't... I don't know, I got something in my mouth. Throat. This was definitely the same with the Germans, or even, you know, very modern sort of... I mean, Germans were definitely ahead of their time. This is sort of a tactic that you see nowadays. You know, you push in and you're trying to take the capital like that. The problem with this is if you're not a very effective army, and your infantryman is weak or not very experienced, it wouldn't take a lot for maybe a unit to just break through, and that means if they break through here, they got no backup. You know, if you're Ukrainian teams that are possibly way better than a long line of the Russians, you know, you got a Ukraine here, you got a long line of unexperienced Russians. Wouldn't take them long to Ukrainians just to push these guys off, cut off the supplies completely, and these guys would have no other choice, you know, to sort of say, oh, we have to surrender. It's a, you know, and that's certainly not what they didn't do that. The Ukrainians were able to make them withdraw, but you know, we're seeing the same here. This one was also an encirclement tactic. You see how they were trying to get to the road right there? They're only stopping them right here, and if they were able to complete that, they would certainly be able to keep a lot of Ukrainian possibly soldiers in there. They did it here. Look at that. You know, that was definitely an encirclement, but they didn't manage to take it out there because, yeah. You know what I can't wait for is that movie to come out, the Ukrainian War. You know, there's certainly in the future going to be movies about war heroes in this war, or people who did something, or people who did another thing. And I'm very interested to see when the first of these movies are going to come out. Because it might just be within years of the war ending. You know, it might just be like World War II, where they didn't really do movies about World War II until possibly a bit, 30 years later or something like that. Well, I mean, they did do movies about it. The most famous movies weren't made before 30 years later, in the 60s or 70s, and then continue to do it all the way up now. You know, they're still making World War II movies because there's so many interesting stories. You know, but obviously nowadays, you know, I wouldn't say they're running out of stories. I just say, it's like, yeah, nowadays they're probably trying to maybe focus on the next Ukrainian movie, or whatever you want to point out. Well, I mean, that's my point of view here. Whatever you guys, how are you guys doing? I mean, certainly boring you guys to death today. I gotta get back into my groove. It's been a while, We got Severisha on. It's been a while. Been a bit of a week here off, not really doing a lot of streaming. Here we have it. Here we have it. We have Ukraine appears. Well, thank you very much, Alexander. How you doing? Ukraine appears to be probing Russian air defenses in preparation for a massive attack involving dozens of UAVs that will fly onto the cities from several directions and different heights. The Wall Street Journal. I might have missed it, but how many helicopter? I mean, we're 2 helicopters now, right? And NATO did not, or it's not going to invoke Article 4 for 2 helicopters, and we already know. I mean, I certainly, I sort of understand these people. What they're doing is they're saying we can fly things into your border and you won't do shit about it. That's why Poland is saying we don't care. We're gonna do something about it anyways, without the help of Belarus. They don't care. Poland doesn't care. I'm doing good, Alexander. Poland doesn't really care at this point, and the well, I don't think it would be wise to sort of invoke a whole war over 2 helicopters entering your airspace. You gotta understand that sometimes, mistakes happen. So despite the factor of just how fucking annoying the Belarusian wagner is being, starting a war over a helicopter entering your airspace, when it's just over your border, sometimes isn't the wisest choice. I mean, if they're attacking and if they're flying some kind of bomb or ordnance, I think what they realized is that the helicopters they were flying were not carrying any sort of ordnance. I don't know. Yeah, they could not, or they could have missiles or something like that. I don't think they were attack helicopters. I'm not really sure. Wasn't there a video from it? Trying to see. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Which I think, as soon as that, as soon as the if an attack was to come, or if they were to do something increasingly stupid, like shooting into the territory. So if you start shooting into a territory, if you fly a jet into the territory and you keep going, they're obviously going to send ordnance towards that jet because the jet is not heading towards the target. But when you're talking about a border where nobody lives, and they fly a chopper into the area, immediately fly back, as much as people are saying, that's weak, NATO's weak for not invoking. In reality, it's just the Russians and the Belarusians being childish, trying to fly things into a territory to test us in that way, that regard. It's childish, and it's really, really childish when you think about it. It's a really unprofessional way to act as a nation in total. We don't really care because we know as soon as they try to attack, because how much damage can one chopper really manage to do before, then Poland invokes their Article 4, their official Article 5, would be just attacking without consulting NATO. But the factor is, as soon as NATO countries attack, they have full clearance to attack back. They don't need to invoke Article 5 or they don't need to consult NATO members, because as soon as one country is attacked, they're allowed to attack their own sovereignty. It's up to the other NATO countries to decide whether or not they were going to go into the war. They have the obligation to go into the war. If they don't go into the war, their membership would be on the line. And the U.S., Germany has pledged their allegiance towards Poland, and I just want to say, as soon as the Germans say we're gonna defend you, you better be good at yoga so you can bend around and kiss your ass goodbye, because that's when shit gets fucked up. We know. Have you read a history book? I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, we gotta, I think if we invoke war or do something like that, we get to the level of where they are. We have to be the ones who are professional and say, they're acting childish. We have to be the professional ones and say, they're the ones being unprofessional. I mean, that's what we got to point out, pointers to that. Yeah, so what are we at now? The one thing that is weird, right, is that the water level, one of the things here, water level at the, sorry. Fucking Christ. Alright, we'll just keep it like this. The water level at the pond, and I believe what we're seeing here is influx of water. I don't actually know what that is. Maybe it's a cloud. Could be a cloud. Maybe it's a cloud. I think it's a cloud. Yeah, it's a cloud. The water level of the pond is at 16.29 meters. The dead point of the pond is 12.7, so it's way above dead point, which is good. This is 9 meters. This is the Dnipro River right here. The average is 9 meters. I mean, this is what's left of the Dnipro River here. It's not even funny at this point, right? I mean, this one's over here, for example. This is 10 meters. I mean, that one's the ones I'm most concerned about, because if I go back, that one's the one that's actually been... If I remember correctly, that's the one that they're actually using to refill the pooling pond. I mean, something like that starts to drain out. Eventually, that cooling pond is going to drain out if that starts to drain out on its own. But, obviously, we had the news about the hot shutdown. We have some IAEA experts arriving at the area. I believe this video is showing. Russian mines discovered on way of IAEA mission to 70p. Obviously, they're in a minefield. Good evening, Nicholas. How you doing? Welcome back here. We're seeing this is IAEA at the area around there. Brigadier Alexander said that this mine has been neutralized. The video shows the moment of liquidation of one. Yeah, I mean, this is our the IAEA expert arriving at the plant, because of course they have been talking about that a lot. I mean, going to the plant and making sure that doesn't happen, but we'll keep an eye on it all. I'm actually home alone right now, so nobody can complain about me talking too loud. That's great, right? The levels at the area seems to have dipped down. They were at 160 at one point, and now they're dipping down towards the 80, 90 point. I mean, we had them all over at one point, but now they're dipping down again. Yeah, so, I mean, what other news are there? Other than the Russians being assholes? I mean, I'm unsure, but there was many images, or at least the stories of a lot of different preparations being done by the Russians. I mean, again, they're apparently filling up some kind of massive, aviation response, or possibly a, how would you put that? Response, or a possible, I mean, the ZMPP is keeping on by a hairstring at this point. I mean, everything that's been done to it, that they're doing it in ways that aren't, meant to be done. It means that they're really conducting themselves, and when it comes to nuclear safety, they're way outside the line of what's allowed. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, wind patterns are looking still, well, somewhat. They could work. They're going away from Russia today, going down towards the Caspian Sea, towards Kazakhstan, down towards, further down towards Iran, and then further down, sort of stopping very silently there. Otherwise, it's going up towards Norway and Sweden up there. So yeah, I mean, listen, we don't know if anything is really happening or if anything will happen. One thing I can say is I don't know why the fuck we still listen to Russian so-called experts when they keep saying that the only threat to the ZMPP is the Ukrainian regime. They keep talking about, oh, the Ukrainian regime, regime, using the word regime all the time, right? Saying they're the only threat to the ZMPP. They've been shelling the area. And why do we still listen to them? What we call them up and say, this guy's still an expert? No, he's paid off. He's probably not even a fucking expert at this point. How far is the front line from the far. Listen, the Ukrainians has not made a lot of advancement when it comes towards the front line. I gotta be honest with you. They have made advancements. I'm not gonna say they haven't, but there was some speed up of the offensive, but at the same time, no, they're still pretty far away from the ZMPP, or if that's what you're asking for. Oh yeah, it's totally Ukrainians. It's totally not the Russians, who, by the way, controls the area. No. Fuck, there's so many. I mean, they're so loud. Every video that we get on Twitter, they're so loud. Fill up with music or something like that. Another MA helicopter was demilitarized in Russia. 6 people died, and a helicopter with 13 passengers crashed in a settlement on Tianyuch, whatever. 3 are in serious conditions, 4 are moderate conditions, 6 died. Among them is a citizen of Belarus. Great stuff, guys. Great stuff. Really, I mean, great helicopters. You guys want to see the newest Russians? You guys want to see the newest Russian helicopters? They're actually pretty insane. I mean, they go pretty fast, they're very, I mean, very great as well. You know, looking at them as well. You know, they just appear to be in top notch condition. You know, and all the time. I mean, look at that. You know, and I've never seen a design like it. You know, I've never seen a chopper that's, by the way, that flat. I mean, flat and burns at the same time while being operational. That's insane. This is obviously fuel that they're pumping into the plane. I mean, the plane's so advanced that it can take in fuel from anywhere on the body. That's how advanced they are. They don't even need to put it into a holder or a you know. They don't. That's top of the line, top notch. You know, they don't even put it into they don't even to refuel it in that way. They just spray it onto the body, and the body just absorbs the fuel. That's what's happening there. You know, it's incredible how uncared. I don't know if it's the choppers. I don't know if it's the pilots or the choppers. I genuinely believe that the choppers are not well maintained. Because why? It's Russia, and therefore they're putting up pilots who actually probably can fly into a helicopter that will crash no matter what. Why? Because the fucking choppers is made in the 60s and haven't been, you know, kept up since the 80s probably, you know. Russia, Ukraine war. EU bans drone sales to Belarus and adds state TV president to sanction list as it happens. In coming weeks, Wagner Group in Belarus will be supplied by drones. Oh yeah, Belarus and Iran is creating a very much closer relationship. You know why? Because what the fuck? Not, you know, why not? Right? I mean, and they keep going on about it, right? Yeah, remains operational with the. One Su-22 UB flanker B remains operational with the Belarusian Air Force. Holy shit, that was loud. Remains operational with the Belarusian Air Force. The rest of the Belarusian Su-27 fleet remains stored. The sole Su-27 UB is used for piloting training of future Su-30 SM pilot. Belarus ordered 12 Su-30 SM flanker H, but only 4 has been delivered so far. Only 4 has been delivered as of now. And that's what I'm saying. You know, the Belarusians operate one plane, you know, compared to America, who probably operates, I believe, between a good dozen, 10,000 planes or something. I don't even know. I don't think it's 10,000, but it's definitely up in the thousands. It's next door neighbor. I mean, smaller countries like, with a smaller economy, we have Latvia. Which at least operates on multiple different planes. How many does Well, I mean, listen, they're not the strongest. I believe that the Davian, I can't really find the number of it, but I believe they operate somewhere between 20 F-16s, something between that lines. So that means that a smaller country with a smaller GDP, like Lithuania and Latvia, Estonia, together, I mean, operate probably somewhere up in the 40 amount of planes or more. You know, compared to their next door neighbor, and both those three of those countries have you know a smaller economy compared to Belarus and is smaller in size. All of those three countries operate more planes and more advanced planes than Belarus could ever fucking muster up. That in itself. Ukraine has begun negotiations with the United States of America on providing it with security guarantees that will be in effect until joining NATO. That this was reported to the OP. Kind of. Well, I think military guarantees means that they're guaranteeing them support in the areas of supplyment or in case of nuclear attack, which have already been a red line, but it wasn't a distinct, like, oh, we're gonna, help Ukraine if they're attacked by a nuclear bomb. They did say that we were probably gonna go into Ukraine if they were attacked by a nuclear bomb, but they never specifically said we're gonna help them out if that happens. I think when we're talking about now, if it's some kind of terrorist attack in case of ZMPP or something like that, they're probably talking about security guarantees in that sort of area. I don't think they're talking about going into Ukraine and helping them out, just in any case, or if they're attacked, because they're being attacked every second. You can go back a few minutes ago, and if that was the guarantee, that they would have, the U.S. would have already just gone into Ukraine by now, because they would have to, they would have to go in, because Ukraine's already been attacked multiple times just today alone. I think they're talking about defense in the ways of supplyment and in case of extreme attacks. I think we gotta understand that right now, we are seeing a larger number of reports of, especially that the Russians are getting ready to do something stupid, or in the sense of getting ready to do something. Yeah, I can't really speak towards what it means, because I don't really know. But yeah, probably means something, security guarantees. Because when you're in NATO, you're allowed to, you're automatically gonna be into a defense plan, right? I do get why this seems a bit weird. Just providing security guarantees to Sweden not being in NATO was Denmark and I think the UK, I think also Germany, I'm not sure, said that they would provide security guarantees in case of an attack on Sweden. But point is, yeah, security guarantees for Sweden was if we Sweden get attacked, we're all gonna go help them despite not being in NATO. That's what their security guarantees is. So yeah, it's a bit weird. I don't think that's the same that's gonna happen for Ukraine, because we're not gonna actively go into war. But the other thing that's weird here is the security guarantees could be regarding to what you were just talking about now, the Black Sea blockade. You know, they could be talking about a possible escort. I mean, that would create a very dangerous situation. If we're talking about U.S. ships, doesn't have to be warships, but U.S. ships, you know, providing with U.S. vessels or stuff like that, going in to help Ukrainian or any kind of ship, you know, go into Ukraine, pick up their grain, and go back out. If that's the sort of security guarantees they're talking about, and Russia is now at that area actively shooting out. I mean, we have seen videos and talks about more of these, you know. I think I made a tweet about it. Talked about how we once again proved to tyrants that we will not appease them. I mean, another one of them was that we would not be stopped by these claims of getting shot in the ass, right? I mean, that's what they want to do, and that's what they're planning to do. If you are to go into Ukraine now and go, oh, we're gonna, you know, get the Ukraine, you will be shot out. But possibly what they could be trying to do now is, you know, help them out in the regards of security when going into the Black Sea, because attacking Turkey vessels or anything like that would be in clear violations, not only with NATO, but would also be in clear violations of international law, really, because you don't, if you attack, you know, a plane or a vessel going into the Black Sea, not being in an active war, you know, that's against international war because they're not in a war. And the way I say these things, you know, I'm not really. It takes a little bit to explain, but yeah. What I think they need to do is go, you know, we're gonna go into take our grain. If you do shoot us, no, sorry. What they need to do is they need to get a ship, right? A U.S. ship, just one of them. They go, and they put that ship in front of that other ship, and they go, hey, we're gonna put these guys in to get that grain. If you shoot at us, if you do anything towards us, that's war, right? If you do something fucking stupid, like attacking us, the U.S. Army, or as you want to say it before, you know, U.S. vessels. There's a B-52 up in America, by the way. B-52. It's up over North Dakota. Holy shit. Yeah, there's a B-52 up. There's another B-52. We got an E-3. We got an E-3 Super Galaxy. We got a, is that another bomber? No, that's not a bomber. Alright, we've got a B-52 up over, over North Dakota. Yeah. Building a what? A bridge. Oh, a bridge. Well, I don't know. I mean, it would take a while to get all that grain on loading on trucks and drive that into another country. Plus, building in an active war, you know, it just creates a very dangerous situation for anybody really there. I mean, if they were to do it and then just drive the trucks over to Moldova, then Moldova could sort of, you know, distribute that. I mean, if we are to build a bridge from Romania, sorry, from Moldova into, or Romania, into, I'd probably choose Romania, into, you know, Ukraine, and then use that as getting the grain out. I mean, sure, right? Sure, you know, I mean that sure. Then you could do that. I just think they need to be a little bit tougher in the result. They need to say that if we're gonna escort these guys and we're gonna get our drains so people don't fucking starve, right? If you attack us, if you do anything against us, we will literally fucking kill you. I mean, that's what they need to say. You know, they need to be tough about this. Because how many fucking dictators do we need to appease before we realize that you can't simply say yes to everything that they put at you? If you keep saying, oh, okay, mister, yes, oh, okay, we won't do that. You know, they will never learn, because all you're doing is giving them what they want. It's like a child. You keep giving a child candy to make them shut up, you're never going to get enough of them, because they just want more candy. If you don't get them candy, then they're not going to shut up, right? So you got to understand, at one point, you tell them, hey, you're not getting any more candy tonight. They say you can get some more candy tomorrow, right? And you're not going to get any more candy tomorrow. No, why? Because it's not Friday, you know? It set some rules, you know? We're going to give you some candy. Just not right now. We are the ones who set the terms for when you get some candy, you know? I just want to say, we need to be tougher in result. I mean, we're not being tough enough. We're not being tough enough in when it comes to telling them that, hey, you know, we're NATO. We're not gonna agree on this. You know, we need to feed the people. Russia says that we can fill the grain deal or fill the amount of grain that Ukraine supplies. We're gonna say no. We need Ukraine to do it because we want Ukraine's economy up. And they say, how dare you go against us in a war? And we say, because we're fucking against you, right? We are not on your side. Get in your fucking head. We don't give a fuck about you. I don't give a fuck about Putin. You know, if all fucking I wish he was dead. You know, well, I fucking wish somebody would kill him. I don't give a fuck about Putin. I don't give a fuck about his economy. That's all I care about. His economy could go to heck, you know? So we really need to just say, hey, let's just get these fuckers out of here and let's get these fucking ships shipped to Africa, around the world, so we can feed the people who are dependent on these fucking grain deals. You know, it's ridiculous that we are not being tougher on Putin. We keep appeasing him, keep giving us candy, we're never gonna get anywhere. We got multiple P8s up, by the way. We got a P3 as well. We got about 5 P8s and 1 P3. It's all sub-locators, sub-hunters, I would say. I'm gonna check Europe now. I've been checking it. We got a B-52 plus. We got a P8 in the Black Sea as well, or just monitoring the Black Sea. You know, Polish. We got Polish border planes. You know. I think it was Winston Churchill who once said, you know, how many times do we have to appease a dictator before we learn you cannot reason with a tiger when your head is in its mouth. And that we can't fucking reason with a paper tiger when he's gonna bite. It doesn't hurt because he's made out of paper. There is no threat. Russia keeps picking their N-word, right? Their N-word being the fucking, you know, nuke. We're gonna nuke you guys. There is no threat from Russia. We gotta realize that there simply is no threat anymore. You know? They're not a world power. In fact, I never think they have been. They're part of OPEC, and the only thing that actually makes them what appears to be a world power is their fucking oil and natural gas. But, again, we can replace that. We can find other sources. We can do more. I mean, we have to do more, right? I mean, we have to tell them and tell him to go shove it, because we are fucking NATO, and we don't give a fuck if you fucking think that you own us or something like that. What we give a fuck about is the people in this world. You clearly don't. We do. And we're not gonna fucking tolerate you doing it anymore. Now we're gonna get these ships out of here, and that's it, you know? It's ridiculous how nice they're still being to him, you know? Tell him to go shove it. You know, he's not gonna attack NATO. He's not gonna attack NATO. He's not gonna attack Europe with a fucking nuke. You know, I mean, it's the same thing, you know? I mean, you go around with somebody who keeps saying, I'm gonna hit you, right? And one day you go up to him and you say, you have telling me for 20 years you're gonna hit me. Are you eventually gonna do it? And then they say, oh yeah, one day I'm gonna definitely hit you. You know, but why don't you just do it now? You know, hit me. and then they're gonna go, oh no, my arm hurts today, or I can't today because I really gotta go, or you know, because in realization you're bigger than him, and when he hits you, you're allowed to hit him back. You know. I mean, if we can supply Moldova with a bunch of trucks, I mean, we just need to call up on some bunch of old trucks, right? Let's just get a bunch of old trucks. Cost no money. We're gonna send them. We're gonna send them to Moldova, and we're just gonna say, hey, put a bunch of fucking grain into this. We're gonna send a bunch of ships to Romania, ship all the grains to fucking Africa. We got all the proceeds, and we just share them out between the countries, right? And we say, hey, Ukraine, you're getting a lot of money already. We're gonna split this. We're gonna split this between Romania and Moldova, and we'll give you some of the profits. Moldova, Romania, they're getting fucking happy because they're getting rich, right? They're saying, oh, all we need to do is make a bridge, and we're getting rich off it. Oh, hell yeah! So they're gonna continue to do that because they're now making money of it, right? And Ukraine's gonna get their deals, and now eventually they can, supply and make their own deals again. But eventually, that'll probably take a while. I mean, what we need to really do is just say, hey, Ukraine, we're going to split the money between Moldova and Romania. In exchange, we're going to give you some packages, some money packages, right? In exchange to be able to pay off your farmers and everything like that. And, then the world's going to be happy again. I mean, that's all we really need to do. I think if they're going to build that bridge, they need to fast track it as well. I mean, you just need to get a bunch of old trucks, right? I mean, trucks, these bunch of old trucks you can go, from anywhere really, just fucking matter where. And we got a bunch of trucks anywhere, preferably one in Europe. I mean, you can buy some for America as well. America probably got about 1 million old trucks, right? They don't really use anymore. Send them into Moldova and get ready to pick up all the grain, and you can get all that shit shipped out of there in fucking 2 weeks. I mean, it's really that simple. Sometimes I think people overstate how difficult politics is. Really, it's not that hard. You got people who know what they're doing. You just say, hey, do what you're good at. They say, oh, you want me to do what I'm good at? Say, yeah, you educated yourself, and I want you to do what you're good at. So they, oh, okay, well, sure. Well, we're gonna do this, and that, and you say, oh, so how does that work? Does it work? Is it good? And they're gonna say, oh yeah, sure. This works. I've done it before. I know what I'm doing. And you say, okay, great, do that. I think really, in reality, all you really need is a person who's good at talking, and then a person who's good at writing, and a person who's good at thinking, and then you can make a really, really great government. I think it's, really don't need that much. It's really, I think, really simple. I personally happen to think that the whole politics games is really overstated. Leaders aren't supposed to be the ones thinking. They're supposed to be, well, thinking. Sure, they should be thinking, be able to think, but at the same time, they need to overstate their their decisions to people who know more, people who've been doing things for a while and know what they're doing. That's what they need to do. American healthcare systems are often decided by people who have nothing to do with medicine. No, nothing. The American healthcare system and a lot of the doctors and the people who depend on medicine, who depend on to live, and the amount of money that you have to pay for it, all of that is decided by people who know nothing about medicine. I'm sure if you got a bunch of health experts and people who've done studies on how you could procrastinate in the American healthcare, you should have got a bunch of those people in a room and then make them come up with something. You can definitely create a greater healthcare system, maybe even a free healthcare system. I think in any country, in any first world country, should have free healthcare. So I don't think you should ever have to pay for your own health. Why you work every day so the American government can have money, and the least they can do is make sure that you're healthy. but you know, apparently that's not something they want. And I just don't get it, you know. And I get the whole like paying a lot of taxes. Sack all of those taxes that you guys are paying. Listen, you guys are paying for pretty much everything. You own something, you have to write it to the taxes. Why the fuck do you have to do that, right? Sack that, get rid of all that, you know. Live free, let business be business, and live free. You know, don't care about the things you buy, and then you have to put it in your taxes. All you say is that you gotta pay your federal tax, right? And that's all. Nothing more. Nothing more. Like literally nothing more. Pay your federal taxes, and then they could easily put in maybe 2% more, and say, hey, this is what you guys are gonna be paying, and we're gonna have free healthcare. You know. Don't get me started on healthcare. Oh wow, it's ridiculous. You know, I just yeah. I think it's ridiculous that there's people out there who is afraid to go to the doctors because they know that they can't afford it. In a country... How you doing, Ocean? Welcome back. In a country that's supposedly the greatest in the world, you know, we can't go to the doctor without having to pay millions of dollars just to get your, you know, get your monthly checkup, not monthly, yearly checkup, right? You know, well, supposedly you're supposed to get it every half year, but you know, yearly is most people get it yearly because they can't really afford the half year, and you know, you got to pay a lot of money to just get a health checkup, which, you know, it's ridiculous. Or if you got a bad cold, you have to pay $10,000 to get that fixed, or you got an infection, oh, that's also $10,000. Nobody can afford that. You know, you got an infection, they should be able to say, you know, how much is that? How much is that? I mean, you don't have to pay. That's free. Antibiotics and all that stuff doesn't cost that much money. So I think the problem is that what your money goes to I think all your money goes to getting the doctors paid and everything like that, and that's the reason why you have to pay so much, right? Or maybe simply it's because they don't actually need to charge so much. In a country like Denmark, where we have less, like trillions of less of dollars, we only have 5 million or 6 million people in the country, but all of those 6 million people can provide and get free healthcare. Sweden has free healthcare. They got closer to 35 million people in their country. They got a lot of people in their country. Finland has about 6 million as well. They also have free healthcare, alongside Norway. Norway has one of the best healthcare systems in the world. You know, most of Europe can definitely get it. You know. No, I think we're pretty good, Ocean. We came back today alone now. I mean, we're sitting here waiting for stuff to happen. I think I'm overdoing that. I always get the news out to start with, and then, you know. Yeah, just back from vacay, yeah. I mean, if American president wants the votes, all he needs to do is basically go out and say, healthcare for all veterans in our country. They're gonna fucking love him. I mean, it's really, I think, really that simple, you know. Oh, I just went, you know, I think, how would you say that in English? Like a summer house. It's in Denmark. We have these, you know, vacation areas that you can rent a house that we call a summer house. You live in them in the summers, in some area near the beach, and you just live in those areas like for a week. You know, I went home a little bit earlier because I didn't really feel like being there anymore, and I was really kind of missing home. Well, I mean, not liking that. I was just kind of missing not being there, you know. But yeah, this is like summer vacation house. I get how you say it. You pay $700 a month for insurance, and you've got to pay $6,400. In reality, you got to pay your insurance. In reality, you should pay zero, right? I mean, I don't think it's really. I mean, Denmark, of course, we also have insurance. Yeah, you have health insurance, and you don't go anywhere. That's just for the surgeon, yeah, or surgery or surgeon or surgery. I mean, alone again. You know, you got to understand that In Denmark as well, we have insurance. Of course, every country has insurance, and we have insurance policies. We have insurance. You know, you have to pay your insurance, but we get a lot out of those insurance. I mean, my dad wrecked his car. Right? I mean, I'm just to point out, my dad wrecked his car once. You know, and the insurance company which he was paying, you know, and then the insurance company just basically said, "Oh yeah, how much money?" And my dad called money. He said, "How much money do I have to pay?" You know, and they said, "Oh, you don't really have to pay much. You just have to pay about, I think it was equivalent. It was got to be $100." It was like $100. You know, I mean, it's like $100. I mean, in Denmark, that's obviously a bit more, but $100 for totally wrecking your car is not a lot of money. You know. I mean, that's ridiculous. Having to pay for your bed, having to pay for all that shit. I mean, really, the state should provide that. And really, I mean, not only the state should provide it, but I think America should provide free healthcare for you guys, because I mean, if they want you guys to be productive, if they want productive workers, you goddamn having to be, you know, you have to be healthy. If you're not healthy, how the fuck are they gonna keep you working? You know, if the average American person can't pay, you know, their bills, their hospital bills, how the fuck are they gonna continue to work? You know, because if they can't go to the doctor, they can't work. Now all of a sudden you're losing taxes. You could fix all this. Sure, how? Get rid of all that extra tax shit, right? Get rid of all that shit. Put the taxes up by 2 points. Not 2% only, I think. And they could probably make it work. Maybe not even having to put out the fucking, you know, just need to get a bunch of smart people into a room, invite a bunch of European countries over to America and say, hey, you know, listen, you guys know how to make free healthcare. Could you guys help us out? You know, and then say, oh yeah, sure. You know, we'll do that, and that. Get a bunch of smart people into a room, and then you could get that fixed up in a month. You know, I mean, the only thing you gotta convince is the Senate. You know, but if you present a good case, I think it's very likely that that with the support of the people, you could call for a vote, and it's very likely that the people would say, if we get free healthcare, you know, in exchange having to pay, we pay our taxes and we get free healthcare. That's what we do in Europe, and you know, you never have to worry about your taxes ever again. Copying some of the European styles. I think if America could, is it barcode on you and you pay the rent? Oh shit. Seems like it, Ocean. I mean, in reality, right? They gotta get rid of all that extra taxes. America could easily pay for healthcare. They don't even need to put up the taxes. Get rid of all that federal, you know, not the federal, but all the extra taxes. All those like, oh, you have to, oh, you just got a car, or you just got this, or you just got that. You know, fuck that, sack that. Get rid of all that. Say the only taxes you have to pay is your federal tax. I don't know, is that, or just your normal tax, right? And then, you know, live a fucking good life. Put down the house prices. Is probably going to have a little bit of a clapback at one point, but you could survive it. I mean, America could easily get health care. Got to need to put a plan up for it. It would take them, I think, to put up official health care, it would take them about a month to knock that out. I could do it in a month. Like, I'm not even a politician or anybody. I could probably get that done in a month. I'm not even kidding. You know, I think it's so easy. Well, it's not easy, but it's, you know, it's not, I get it's not easy, but in getting it done is easy, because you really just don't need a lot of people. Well, all you need is all you really need is a bunch of smart people. You may invite some European countries over and do that, you know. How do you think back? Yeah, but I just came back now, you know. I've been on a vacation thing back, so I've been in a while for a while. They buy votes with that money? Sure. They probably do. I mean, listen, I'm gonna sit here and say no, they don't, because America is fucking corrupt. I mean, we have to fucking put it there. I mean, America's been corrupt for a while. You know, ever since Reagan was one of those guys. His time in office was really one of the game changers. I think one of the key points of Reagan was, you know, let business be business. I mean, the economy was all of a sudden booming, you know, and the corruptions were less. And he had a corruption campaign. I think what they really need to run is a corruption campaign, and then say, hey, you know, you're corrupt, you're corrupt, you're corrupt, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired, and they say you can't do that. Oh yeah, I can't because I'm fucking the American president. I'm the president of the United States of America. I can do whatever the fuck I want. You know, I mean, kick out all the bad guys and put a bunch of new smart people in, and then say, oh yeah, this is what we're gonna do. You know, and then say, you know, yeah, our country is fucked. Do something, and then you know, fix it in a fucking week. No, you couldn't, but point is, you could probably get that country back to its glory former in a year or less. I could, I don't know. I couldn't do it, but you know, it certainly seems to be. No, Reckon wasn't corrupt. That's not what I said. Thing bad. I said that Reckon was one of the guys who ran a ran a campaign on corruption. He ran. How would you say? Like he ran a campaign against corruption. Like he went and uncorrupted. I think Reagan wasn't corrupt. He was one of the greater presidents that's been around. I mean, he, you know, some controversies, but he was one of the greater presidents. I mean, a lot of people felt really strongly about Reagan. I don't think so. Polish border forces came under attack with Belarus as they detained migrants for fear of Wagner. Oh, look at that. It's been stories, right? Rome too. Well, I think Trump was a different story. Look at this. That's apparently Polish border guards right there, and that's well. The stories goes that apparently Wagner is dressing up as civilians, or maybe trying to dress up as civilians, which means that maybe a lot of well, not civilians, sorry, refugees. Maybe a lot of refugees are getting detained at the moment for maybe no reason. They don't really understand why they're getting detained, because what's happening is Polish border guards, or Polish people are very, I mean, the Polish border guards in general, but the Polish government is very afraid right now that Wagner's going to try and do some kind of terrorist attack dressed as civilians. And that's what they're worrying about right now. I don't know if this was pretty recent, but it didn't look as if it was right now. I mean, this was probably some time ago. I mean, it's 1 minute, but it was still light, and there isn't light in more defense than our border. Are you talking about the border? Yeah, the Polish border between. But you gotta understand that Belarus has been putting, you know, thousands of migrants through Poland for years, and they've been taking people from the country like Belarus and saying to them, they've taking countries from like Africa or the Middle East and saying, oh, we can give you, you know, citizenships inside the European countries. All you got to do is run for the border, you know. All you got to do is run for the border, and we can give you citizenships. All right, sure enough. So they went through the border. All right. They went through the border, right, and they created sort of a paradox right now is the factor that obviously Poland is trying to take in as many as they can, but at the same time they can't continue to take in refugees at the rate that they're taking in. And there's just another point of Belarus trying to disrupt anything in Poland, you know. Yeah. No, I think it's ridiculous. I think being called a racist for trying to protect your own border. I mean, listen. Just recently, you came on attack from the cartel, and you have a bunch of people who are working very illegally in their own country. You know, who's working illegally in Mexico, and then people say, "Oh, why don't you allow these guys in America?" We got honest. Look, I got honest working Mexicans, who come through the border, or not only Mexicans, but honest working refugees who come through the border, and they say, and they are honest working people. A lot of them are, But when you have those people who come through just to do, sell drugs or stuff like that, and people say, "Oh, you're such a racist for letting these people through, for not letting these people through," and say, "No, we just don't want more drugs in our country. We just don't." We just don't want more criminals in our country, and that's what we're trying to get rid of. But I think in many cases, they go, "Oh, this guy's a drug lord, this guy's a drug lord," or something like that. But they can't always do it. But if they have, know-how of who is who, we, you could definitely make the excuse to, hey, this is life. We try to protect our country as much as you want to protect yours. And they can always point out, go watch the Belarusian Polish border. Go watch the go watch the Latvia and Estonia border with Russia. Go watch the Finnish border with Russia, the Norwegian border with Russia. The the Jordan border alone as well. I mean, a bunch of border. The South Korean North Korean border. I mean, it's not very heavily defended, but it's very heavily manned. There's so many borders around the world. Denmark doesn't really have any, but point that out. Well, was another example. We had a bunch of borders in Turkey against Syria. We had in Israel we have Israel blocking all Palestine completely. And we have Pakistan compared with India and China. Those areas are pretty hard to defend, but you have a lot of people there to get rid of them. India has a lot of soldiers on the border, not only with Pakistan but China. So it's ridiculous that we keep saying, "Oh, well, we can't protect our own borders." Honest, hardworking people that come through to our countries and want to work and want to make an honest living, I'm more than welcome, because that means more taxes and more people who live a happy life. But people who want to come through and just create chaos, I don't see the reason as to why I have to put my family through that. I don't see the reason as to why I have to sit here and accept that there are people who just want to do harm. Can't judge a child from another country, who comes through the border and say, and when you say, "Oh, we're gonna kick you out," that's ridiculous, because they haven't done anything wrong. There's possible that they've done anything wrong, but if we know they've done something wrong, I'm not gonna let them into the country. Why? Because they're fucking criminals. Why? Yeah, I'm not saying every Mexican. I'm not saying every person from the Middle East is criminals. I'm not saying that. Of course I'm not. But what I'm saying is, if there are some who are, we need to understand that we can't let those people into the country in fear that, you have to protect your borders, in the face that you can't let people who are criminal charges into your country, because it's not that hard to understand. That's not racist. That's just trying to protect your own country, protect your borders. Doesn't that make sense? I don't know. I think it does. It might sound racist, but at least it's honest, Yeah, yeah. Biden got slammed by, I think it was Niger. Niger had was it a military coup, actually? I think it was a recent military coup or attempts in Niger here just some times ago. Their democracy alliance is being challenged, and then Biden said that we're not going to be supporting them, and then I think it was another Nigerian, a Niger general, who said that it's good that you're not going to supporting us with their resources, Why not just give it to your homeless people because you have so many? I don't think it might be the best country to talk about that, because Niger is one of the poorest in the world, and it also has a lot of starving people. And now they're clapping back at the U.S. for having starving people who are homeless, who are many times not starving. Well, yeah, sure, are starving, but there's a lot more options when being homeless in America than there is being in Niger. And they're now slamming America, saying, "Oh yeah, why don't you just give it to the homeless people?" It's like it is really not the best country to maybe talk about equality, because they have not done many strides towards getting their economy up going. I mean, the economy in Niger is one of the worst in the world. And that, I mean, Niger is one of the economies, is one of the poorest in the world. In fact, I even think it is the poorest. Is it not? One of the poorest. It's ranking 8th on the poorest country in the world. 8th. You know. We have coming in at the number 1 spot is Burundi. Burundi, officially known as the Republic of Burundi, is a small country in Africa which has the lowest per capita GDP at $308. Imagine that. $308. Somalia. I mean, yeah, it's a ranking on 8th in the world. Of the poorest country in the world, and they're slapping back at America for not giving them resources to fight against people who's trying to take over the country because they're unsatisfied with their country. And they're going, "Oh yeah, you need to help us." Help you from what? Help you for what reason? You're not giving your people money. You're not giving your people, democracies you so claim to do. What you're doing is making them starve. They have no money. Yeah, $308. That's not a lot of money. You want to. I know the Americans can have it bad, but $308. God damn, that's not a lot of money to earn. That's that a year, I think. Or wait, no, I mean, so how do you put that? I don't know. We have a Q4 Global Hawk heading over Greece right now, looking like it's heading maybe towards the Black Sea, possibly. Maybe it's Forte. Is it Forte? Is it Forte? Oh, it's Macma. Good old buddy. How you doing, buddy? I haven't seen you in a while. Macma, I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Good to see you back. Good to see you, chump. I'm gonna close my door real quick, get something to drink here, so I'll be right back. Don't get me started on the American economies and all that stuff. I'm always so I get very political. I probably wouldn't do very well as a politician though. I don't think I have to. I don't think I have the chumps. Is that the way you say it? It's all quiet on the Western Front. That's what it is. The Washington Post. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, would you? Senior U.S. defense official has stated that the preparations are on the way. Sorry about that. Real quick. Just gonna. Being the deployment of Marines and sailors onto commercial shipping vessels as they pass through the Gulf of Oman and the Persian Gulf through the Strait of Hormuz in order to protect them from the hijackings and attacking of often portrayed by the Iranian military. An official has gone so far. What is that? Three things to help define any healthy country. Borders, language, and culture. Thoughts? Well, I mean, yeah. But yeah, solidifying your borders is definitely important. I think language is one of those where it's like, yes, you can teach them your language, but in many ways, you know, we have this problem in Denmark where we start teaching people Danish before we start teaching them English. Why not just teach them English so they can get a fucking job, and then teach them Danish at some point throughout the future, right? You know, I mean, it's yeah, your culture is certainly important. You know, don't let go of your culture. I think culture is really up to oneself. I would say what defies a country, you know, health wise, is the state of its military, its state of its morale, and its overall willingness to work for the country. I think if you have a large population and they're all working towards a common goal of making America, or not only America but your country great, you know, yeah. Well, how you doing, DV? How long? Long time no see. How long are you? What? Sorry. How long are you? That's not a word. Well, it is a word, but how are you? Yeah. No, how long are you? How long are you, man? An official has gone to so far as to say that Marines from the campus range in North California have already been transferred to the Bahrain to begin training on maritime security. Yeah, well, great. You know, if I was them, I wouldn't send a bunch of Marines. I would just send like a bunch of vessels. You know, I personally I would just send like a bunch of vessels and then have them in the area to intercept. I get the whole point of, you know, having a quick reaction force. I think what they're trying to create is a quick reaction for it. You know, 180 centimeters, taller than you. I'm way taller than you. I'm like fucking 40 centimeters taller. Come on, man. Can't you get taller? Loser. So maybe a bit aggressive. I'm sorry. A little bit aggressive. Just call somebody a loser. Polish, yeah. Oh, my trip was great. I had a lot of fun. I went home a bit earlier than my folks did. They stayed up there. I just I didn't want to be there anymore. I just got a little bit bored. You know, I just wanted to get home, sit here, talk to you guys. That's how great I am. You know. Shit, I can't name any of them. What? You're 2 meter long? Yeah, I am. Well, basically, I mean, I'm 6 centimeters away from being 2 meters. I said once, I wish I was 2 centimeters. I wish I was 2 meters tall. I don't know why. I just wish I was, had that sort of round number. I feel like being 194 is kind of like it's got a little bit of bullshit. I think if I put on some big shoes, I could, without shoes I'm 194. With shoes I'm possibly 196. You know, put on some 4 centimeter heels. Right? Is it 4 centimeters like shoes that carry me up 4 centimeters? I'm definitely close to being 2 centimeters tall. Well, sorry, not 2 centimeters. 2 meters, not 2 centimeters. Missiles? No, I doubt that. But yeah, it still is quite not. Officially, the Russians have stated multiple times that they're getting ready for some kind of larger UAV or possible aviation attack. That's something we have to look out for. That's why I'm kind of excited to be here. I mean, well, excited. I'm not really, I hate using the word excited when it comes to war. Well, the weather's pretty normal. I mean, sometimes there's you got to watch out for the birds, but otherwise than that, other than that, I feel pretty good. SSU detained in intelligence. I got the outstanding performance of these people, right? That good to know? Yeah, exactly. Well, it's common knowledge. I'm 6. Are you just sick? You're just 6? That's not very tall, man. 6 centimeters? That's not very tall. I think you should you gotta talk to a doctor about that, Elshin. Really gotta talk to a doctor about being 6 centimeters tall. You gotta talk to a doctor about that. That's a little tall. Sorry, a little sharp. Oh, there we go. Nothing. Right. Let's sit here. I watch the screens and I watch everything. The most exciting news that comes in. Apparently, Belarusian border guards has been attacked by smoke, of all things. Maybe some kind of tear gas. It's good to have you back. Yeah, it's great to have me back. It's great to have me. It's great to have me back as well. No, it's great to have you guys back. I've missed it. I've definitely missed it. I've showed the video earlier, but now that we got some other people in here, we might as well show it again here. What appears to be, this is obviously from earlier. It is night in Poland now, so possibly today. I'm not really sure. Could have happened today here. So what we're seeing is that one guy right here possibly realizing something. Well, the interesting part is these guys are people who are refugees that are coming from, fuck knows where. And you're telling me that for custom control, for everything, they've now managed to bring in tear gas to that border without anybody saying, hey, what do you got in the back? There's any fucking tear gas, right? When it explodes. I don't know if it's tear gas, but you don't just throw smoke at people. Smoke. It's just smoke. Well, it could be. If they're trying to slip through, but it doesn't really make sense. If you're attacking someone, you obviously want it to be more than just smoke, right? Possibly. I would believe tear gas or maybe something worse. But yeah, that's what's happening there. So increasing attacks. Actually, I'm getting worried, but I just want to point out that there's been speculations of Wagner dressing up as possible refugees or civilians and launching some kind of terror attack. The only people I can know of having access to those sort of grenades or smoke bombs or tear gas while traveling through a country trying to being refugees could possibly be a Wagner or something like that, you know. But yeah, they're trying to terrorize them along the border, and we won't stand for it. No, we won't. Yeah. I'm 6'2" with their. Oh yeah, wait, the weather's always sunny up here. Good to know, Ocean. Yeah, I know the feeling, man. Oh, 194 in centimeters is what's not 194 centimeters in inch or feet is what's that 6.3 or 6.3 and a half. Well, 6 feet 4 and something like that. Yeah, 6'4", 6'4" and a half is what I would say. And with shoes on, I'm probably with shoes on, I'm probably 6'4". Yeah, with shoes on, I'm yeah 6'4", which is yeah, pretty cool, you know, pretty cool. Being a 6'4" kind of big ass giant. I got. I don't want to go any further as well. You know. I don't want to be taller. I like being the height I am now because if I go taller, then things just get complicated. You know, hit your head on anything. Oh, it's terrible. No, but I fine with being the height I am now. I'm fine with being the height that I am now. You understand? With my hair not combed, I'm 6'4". That's one hell. You got what do you got? You got an afro or something? An afro all the way up to. I got like a big ass hair. You got. Yeah, damn. You got 6'2" and you got 2 inches of fucking hair. That's impressive. That's a lot of hair. That's a lot of hair. That's a lot of damage. All right. Yeah, you guys. I'm gonna run for president of the United States of America. I'm Danish, but I'll just lie about my birth certificate, you know, my birthplace, and I'll run for president, and then we'll see what happens. Nobody will find out, obviously. You know. No, nothing. Okay, fine. I won't do it. No, I think I'm good. Winding down? No, it's actually, well, yes, in many ways, but I think what's happened is that it's actually sort of created itself. You see how it used to be over here, but it sort of created itself a crater. I think it's locking itself in again. I think what's happening is that it's going to seal itself off eventually again. Yeah, it's those volcanoes. They just, you know, explode, and then it's possibly going to seal itself off once more and possibly erupt again in about 1,000 years, maybe. I don't know. Or 2 years. You really don't know about these things. But yeah, I mean, somewhere along there. We got a B-52 still up over North Dakota. We got a Globemaster. No, we got a what was that? Texan 2. All right. Nothing. We got a lot of P8 still. P3s. Pew. Yeah, there you go. I think I was counting about 5 P8s and 1 P3 before. I think, well, a lot of P8s. A What do we got? We got an NC 135. The river joint? United States TC 135V river joint. Never heard about that one before. Well, it's a river joint. I mean, I've just never heard about the TC version. What about T? Yeah, I saw that, Ocean. I was looking at that before. Yeah. Fuck. Dedicated electronic surveillance aircraft that can be deployed in all threats of strategic and tactical missions. Its sensors soak up electricity emissions from communications radar and other systems. All right, we got a. Oh wait, no, that's RC. What about a TC? I'm looking at. So they haven't. Okay, so I guess TC and RC may be. Is that difference or is it the same? But the model says test TC. I mean, there's a river joint, right? And they're used for emergency missions or picking up, I think, EMPs, right? Or is I wrong? But I got a TZ. And I just heard about the TZ version. I guess that's normal. I don't know. No, not normal. Normal? Not normal? Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe? Yes? Maybe not? Okay. Alright. Well, maybe not. Okay. No? No? Maybe not? Alright. Bird is the word. Oh, I can't really do that. Well, how many we got? We got 1, 2. We got 1. Oh, we got. Oh, there we go. No. Actually, we got 1. Is that P3? Yeah, that's a P3. No other P3s. We got. Alright. We got a mother P. We don't have much P8s up anymore, but we did have one over the Black Sea earlier. And an Airbus just outside Israel. How you doing, sire? Desire. Yeah, Macma's getting close to being all Bulgaria now. So they're possibly going to be moving towards the Black Sea. Maybe to replace that P8 flying in the area, because I know it's a P8 flying there. This is a sub hunter. But yeah. Well, continue to look into it all. You got to hear first, but you got to hear first, ladies and gentlemen. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you got it here first. Poland and Lithuania say fear provocation from Russia and Belarus and NATO on the eastern flank. Yeah, I mean, that's what's happening, right? When? We don't know, but it's happening. Possibly. I don't know. Can't sit here and say. I have not heard anything about that missing P8. I really don't know if it's gone or not. I really don't know. I mean, I've not heard anything. I really am not into that story. I mean, nobody's even made a press conference about it or talked about it or done anything about it. So yeah, I can't really know, but yeah. Say yeah. So that's one. Ouch. I mean, I doubt that there's a missing P8 in the ocean of the Black Sea. I think somebody would have possibly picked up on that now. I mean, not only did we have grain ships going through the area, when it happened, we had grain ships going through the area that would have spotted it, and I doubt if one of them wouldn't have snapped a picture of a plane in the ocean. I mean, and I don't know if it happened at night. If it did happen at night, obviously there wouldn't possibly be planes, and it would be very unlikely to spot it. And I don't think those things float. So if it did go into the ocean, I mean, I'm just saying, if nobody talks about it, I think if they're lying about it or keeping it a secret, they're not going to be making themselves very popular with the people by keeping such a large secret away from the people, because that would be just that would be insanely and also I doubt Russia would keep it a secret, because I just happen to think that they would capitalize on the fact that they shot down a P-8 as much as they can. Daylight. Uh, daylight savings time. I mean, we do it. I think every time it's like close to summer or close to fall or something like that. I mean, I think every country in the world does that. Or I don't know. I don't think North Korea probably doesn't do it. I think every country in the world has that day. I don't know if they do. I generally don't know, but I think. I mean, is it every day? Daylight? Do you mean every day, or do you mean? Because we do have one where the clock goes backward 1 hour, and we nowadays they do it, automatically on my phone. It just does it automatically, and then when I wake up the next morning, happen to go to work, right? I get to sleep an extra hour. It's the best time of the year. It really is. When you have to go to work, right? And then, you just get to sleep half an hour more because the fucking time turned back an hour. You just get to sleep an hour more. It's so amazing. It really is. Yeah, spring and fall time. It's the same for us, Ocean. Yeah. I'm pretty sure every planet on Earth does it, because I think it's something to do with the Earth's rotation, isn't it? Or, yeah, I don't know. Have you guys ever seen those people with their bios being like, I'm anti USA, anti NATO, anti European Union, I'm anti every country in the West, anti West, I am so on board with Russia. Russia is right every time. I'm just wondering, what the fuck is wrong with you? I mean, what did you get dropped as a child? I just don't know. I mean, you have the choice, being in the West, of supporting the West, but still, you choose to go to the side that's possibly very likely going to lose in every corner of this way.
Полицию назвали раздел.
Called the military police. They got the man naked. Oh God, can't. Potential revolt at the military base in the suburbs of Moscow. Yeah, they should send them to those commie. Yeah, I feel like Ocean. If they, give him like a week in North Korea, and they would come back and say, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm fucking sorry." You know, the realization of when you can't go to your store and buy your favorite candy, and when you can't go to the store and buy you know, your fucking energy drinks or whatever, right? The realization that you can't just go and buy whatever you want, get whatever you want, right? Is when most people realize, holy fucking shit. I mean, we have it good. And people complaining about living in the West, I would never. I mean, the leaders, sure, but I don't really hate my leader at the moment. I think she's a great leader. People always talk about like how, oh, you know, why, our economy, our inflation. Denmark's actually seen record high growth in our economy. We're about to hit 400 billion. And we're getting richer and richer, and our government is somewhat kicking back when it came to before. I mean, sure, we could have a more efficient government. Sure, I mean it's somewhat a bit of a clusterfuck sometimes, but at the same time, I also just happen to think that my living in Denmark is the greatest thing ever. I'm really happy about living in Denmark. I'm really, yeah. If you just say, "Are you capitalist?" Yeah, I'm fucking capitalist. Because if being capitalist means that I can earn a lot of fucking money and sitting here at home, right, or going to my favorite store, or, living free, doing whatever the fuck I want. Yeah, yeah, I'm capitalist. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I I'll take that over communism any day, right? And yeah. I did once have like a dream of like I that's well dream. I was like I said maybe I want to be a politician, and I actually got an internship with a politician in the local council in my city. Yeah, it's pretty fun. I mean, wasn't wasn't the oh no, it was fun. It was a good day actually. Yeah, I got to see the city. I was actually with her to do a lot of stuff, and yeah, I mean, yeah, I've had times where I was possibly wanting to be a politician, but you know, things go your way. Maybe later in life. She was quite young as well. She was, I think, 26 or something like that. Waiting 2 days for Amazon to deliver annoys me. I wouldn't listen. Yeah, exactly. I mean, listen, you wouldn't living in North Korea. You're not gonna get your Amazon delivery before Kim Jong Un dies. you know. Yeah, I'm not a really. Yeah, I think it would take about a day to convince most North Korean people to realize just how greater South Korea would be at governing them. Because I think it would take them possibly a day to go, here's some food, and here's a schedule, and here you can buy food. Here you can actually have food every day, and here you can have a job, and you earn money every day, and you can buy food here, and it's cheap, and you can actually have money, and just all that stuff. Like it would literally take the North Korean probably like a day or two to realize, holy fucking shit, life is good over here. Oh my god. I mean, life right here. Good god. I don't even care that there's crime. I don't even give a fuck. I don't. I want it. I want it. I live here. Whatever. Right? Like. Have you ever seen? Have you ever seen the? Yeah. Yeah, I think having food would just win them over. I think what America, if they were about to go to war with North Korea, right? They should fly a bunch of planes over North Korea with a bunch of packages of food that just pasted democracy on them, and they would just be filled up with provisions and stuff like that, and just pat it out down to the people. I mean, I think the soldiers would probably take him, which probably wouldn't be the best point. But you get my point, right? You get my point. The whole point would be turning people against the regime, you know. But it's also a hard point because speaking or saying anything that's not even in with line with the leaders of that country would get you killed. So it's it's a hard line. You can't blame them because the place, the regime they live in does not allow them. Today in Dhaka, Latvia, 20 kilometers from the border with Belarus. All right, look at that. Yeah, bunch of soldiers here. I'm a long ass convoy here. You guys can just take a look at this video here. This is what I'm talking about. This is the shit right here. This is Latvia. This is possibly a normal soldier, right? This is like what a normal soldier in Latvia looks like. I mean, look at those guys. I mean, their equipment and their tanks looks brand new. Look at that. That's barely used. Look, most of those look barely used. This is a long ass convoy, and I mean, you don't move this much. Look at all this stuff. I mean, this is a lot of infantrymen here. A lot of equipment, a lot of everything being moved here. These are look at that long ass convoy here being moved towards the front there. Imagine looking outside and just see a bunch of these guys walking along the side there. I mean, this is indications, more and more indications of things happening. Use B-2 stealth bombers to do food drops. Exactly. Wait, Ocean, you wouldn't even have to drop bombs to win North Korea. I think you just give them a taste of democracy and then say, this is what democracy is like, and then they go, oh shit, Nah, I mean, Latvia is not playing around. Latvia has a smaller economy than Belarus, but still has twice the manpower. Well, not twice the manpower, twice the equipment power. That's what I meant to say. It's kind of weird way to say it, but you get what I'm saying, right? This is, I mean, this is, Latvia, Estonia, sorry, Latvia and Lithuania is what I'm talking about. Those guys don't play around. I mean, Estonia right now is not really the one who's placing around the most because they're not really at that border, but they are committing toward it, and they have also said that they will commit towards the defense of that region because if Wagner's to close up the Swarovski Gap, that really affects them as well. Well, not only economically, but safety wise, And it would take, obviously, the Wagner soldiers a little longer to get there, but I don't think they would ever get there. Because I seriously doubt that with the amount of equipment, not only at the Swarovski Gap, but at that border right now, it would take possibly the Belarusians, maybe the Belarusians, the Wagner, 1 million men to just make a dent. And they don't have 1 million men. What they have is possibly close to 20,000. It's still a significant number, but it is nowhere near the amount of equipment and other stuff that's being already moved towards the border, and the amount of things that Poland and Lithuania could mobilize, and Latvia as well. So yeah, I mean it's going cray, right? It's quite cray. It's cray. It's going cray. Yeah. Poland claims Wagner fighters in Belarus are trying to destabilize NATO. Tensions are high in the region as Poland has beefed up its military posture on the northern response to Wagner's presence. Yeah. Of course, we gotta remember Kaliningrad, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Kaliningrad is even going to join in on the attack. And I don't seriously know. I'm still confused as to what their idea of this attack is going to be, because thinking about it, I mean, how are they going to be able to posture up enough forces or even the ability to take that gap? I just don't really see how it's going to be possible. I don't think it's going to be possible. I just don't know how can one people be so stupid? I mean, they can't possibly think that they're able to do it You know, I think Wagner is one of those like that's played up way too much. Well, I think it's time for a history lesson. There was once a legion in the Roman army called the 14th Legion, the 40th Legion. These guys, they were feared. They fought in England. They fought in France. Well, back then, of course, France, right? They fought all over the world, and they were feared. They were perhaps one of the most feared legions of the army. You know, and they were very patronized. They were thought as to being the leading army of the whole Roman army. And whenever they were to go to war, and the men was to see the 14th Legion arriving at the scene, you know, famously they would actually arrive late on the scene because they knew that they were so famous and they were so good that nobody cared when they arrived and nobody would dare to tell them when to arrive. They would just arrive whenever they saw fit, and everybody would get so excited. The morale would boast so much that men were set to fight twice as good. And then it turned out that when the 14th Legion were, you know, been around for now 20 years, and these men who was now part of the 14th Legion had been fighting, you know, been in this legion for the amount of 20 years. But then what they didn't see was that they have already replaced a lot of the older fighters who couldn't fight anymore, who had retired or died. And all of a sudden, you know, we have these older and younger who aren't, the older are obviously very experienced, but they're getting old. You know, that's not immobile anymore. The youngers are very unexperienced. You know, they're obviously learning from the best, but all of a sudden, this 14th Legion came in to think, it came into knowledge to being this great legion, right? But then as soon as they needed them and they were to put them into war, after all these years of posturing and everybody was waiting to see what the 14 legions could do, they lost every battle they had up until then, and the 14 legions was pretty much just, it became just another legion. I mean, they were so hyped up. They were sought as to be one of the best legions of the country, right? Of the Roman Empire. But it was just, you know, to start with, possibly a great legion, you know, with a bunch of experienced fighters, but they became unexperienced because they now are recruiting people who aren't experienced. They are young, old. This is what's happening here. Wagner is possibly the 14th Legion of Russia, because they are sought as and looked as to be the greatest fighters of the Russian army, right? I mean, the Russians, when they see the Wagners, well, at least to start with, right? They were like, oh yeah, you know, we have the Wagner on our side, we can fight, you know. And then morale came down when they realized that the Wagners wasn't as good as they were advertised to be. And now they're sending into Belarus because Wagner took Bakhmut, right? So they're great fighters, but they have less numbers now, and many of the newer numbers are actually younger and unexperienced. So can you see how history is now replaying itself? You know, it's really replaying itself. It's calling in fighters who supposedly are veterans, but who haven't really fought for a long time, and who are unexperienced in many ways. I wouldn't say they're unexperienced, but they haven't fought in a while, and some of them are very old. I mean, we may have some of them who still are able to fight and put up a good fight, but in reality, they're just this really hyped up warrior tribe, right? Mercenaries that doesn't really correlate into being as good as they may have thought to have been. You know, the 14th Legion was always thought to have been so great, but they always arrived late to the battle and never really fought. You know, and during the early days, you know, they were a fresh force and they were the best that they had. But now, and as well as it happened to the 14th Legion, they were nothing. They couldn't put up a fight anymore. This is what's happening here. They may have people who are now trained and tried, but as soon as possible, we're going to realize that these guys are possibly just overhyped, you know, soldiers. Not mercenaries or anything like that. They're mercenaries, but they may just be as overhyped as we think they are. Well, that's your history lesson for now. Good God, that's a lot of words in one sentence. One so talk point there. Holy shit. I don't get it. I try to delete one word and it goes, "Oh, I can't do that. I gotta relaunch every stream that you have, and then I can't. You know, give me a second, okay? Just give me. Come on. You guys can do better than that. Come on." No, you don't need to go blank. Come, can you just? Yeah, there you go. All right, see you later, Ocean. Thanks for being here. Have you heard of the story of the pigeon of World War One? Have I told this one? I think I haven't. A lot of patriotic people, and this one was a pigeon. Now, pigeons were famously used in the wars because for their ability to carry messages throughout the countryside without having to be, radioized, and they're very small objects, and they could fly through the trenches without being shot. Now, one said famous bird was once carried out to deliver a message of a trapped Allied unit that was trapped behind enemy lines. And they were fighting off Germans for a while. They were trying to send off pigeons after pigeon. Every pigeon they sent off died. They got shot or shelled with debris. Now, this one pigeon, who had already made a name of herself of being a stubby pigeon, was thrown into the air with a message and hit by a shell. Landed on the ground, and people thought, "Oh shit, the bird who's also now been shot. So this bird is dead. The bird's not going to make it." What does he do? The bird stands up, somehow flies, while having shrapnel and a bullet inside of one of its wings, or one of its side, right before its wings, and flies to the message carrier, gets the message to the Allies, and then the Allies are able to send help, and these guys now survive because of that pigeon, a stubby ass pigeon. Now you might ask, did this pigeon survive? Yes, in fact it did. It was nursed by the animal veteran. They had a lot of they had that around because not only in World War One and World War Two they were used, and they used but it did. They used to use pigeons for it, and the pigeon survived. Another famous incident, another one, it did the exact same thing. They were trying to send pigeons up of pigeons, and they couldn't get any pigeon up. Every pigeon they tried to send up died, right? Well, except one pigeon that had one of the sergeants, and they said, "Oh, well, why don't we send this pigeon up?" And they said, "Oh, but this one's a war hero," because at that time it was a war hero. We can't send this one up. Every pigeon's died, and they said, "Well, we don't have any other choice." And again, they sent a pigeon up and was hit by a shell. What does this pigeon do? Fucking gets up one more time, as if it has democracy running through its veins, patching up its wounds as it goes along. It stands up, flies over, gets the message to the artillery, and then fires out the positions, and the enemies and the Allies are able to get their victory at that specific battle. Well, at least trying to push in the battle. Survived another day, right? Fixing dinner? Alright, fair enough. And the pigeon, again, ended up surviving, come back to the United States, is awarded millions of corns and everything. Well, millions of Victor speaking, right? I mean, it was awarded corn. It was treated one of the best birds. It was given a special coat to pin on its medal on. It was given the valor, the highest honor. It was a Medal of Valor or Medal of Honor. And went out the rest of the days to live in a to live in. I think it was actually, well, it didn't really live anywhere. I think they just sort of let it go. Really, I mean, I think they ended up just telling it to go fly and live a life. What did they? I think maybe they just, I don't know. I can't really remember that story complete to the end. But the point is, really, I mean, throughout history, there's been these. I mean, we had Sergeant Stubby, the Vorchek, which is a bear who was also able to carry crates. I mean, one time with the Vorchek, the bear, who was a Polish, fighting with the Polish soldiers, put up once took 3 crates that would usually take about 10 minutes to carry up. You know, once took up those 3 crates, lifted it by itself, went up a hill, successfully resupplied its comrades, as they like to say it, and ended up being able to take that battle because all of a sudden they had ammo crates, you know, all over the place. I mean, they would have to send soldiers back to get those ammo crates, so that bear was just running back and forward, lifting up its crate, giving it to soldiers. They were carrying 3 crates, 10 men for 3 crates, and that bear would just carry it on his own. Sergeant Stubby once saved the whole trench line from a gas attack because it smelled something funny. For some reason, can't tell you why. If it's God sending you a word, I'm not a very religious person, but perhaps it in fact is just something of a weird thing that makes not only a dog but a pigeon so patriotic in its mind or in its blood. Running through its blood is a democracy, right? They for some reason just carry on, despite not knowing what they're doing, despite not knowing what the fuck they are and who they are. Just carry on. The stories of these animals throughout history that's created these amazing stories. I mean, we had another one story of a horse that once also got shelled, and had to hit by shells, but still carrying its men throughout the trenches. It was I can't remember the story either. I just don't really know. Sometimes I forget these stories. I'm trying to relist those stories. I mean, haven't really written them down. If I had written them down, I'm sure I could tell you better, but yeah. No, but the point is, it doesn't take him human to be patriotic, does it? So, it's been a while. Got to get back into the groove. Eine Panzer. Yeah. I don't know why, but for some reason, Germany has now decided to make another tank version and call it the fucking Panther. Or the Panzer. I told you guys it before. And these guys are very afraid of making things any reference towards the war. And for some fucking inexplicable reason, they are now, for some fucking reason, they've made a tank and Panzer. Or Panther, or what I call it, right? Those are the tank names that they used in World War II. I mean, I get, they still use the same logos. Well, not the swastika. They don't use that anymore. They use the Iron Cross. Yeah, but just, that's just like, do you need to? At the same time, I think it's cool that they're, realizing that maybe being so afraid of naming a tank after something like that, isn't a bad idea. And by the way, Germany's not going to be attacking us anytime soon, so really just go ahead, guys. If it means more tanks for Ukraine, call it whatever you want. I mean, you could call it after me. I wouldn't even care, Defense critics point out the administration's inability to enforce no-fly zone. That's a pretty funny one. Listen, this guy's this guy's possibly I don't know. Defense critics point out the administration's inability to enforce the no-fly zone. That's Mike Pence right there. He's got a fly on his head. Panther, yeah, the Panther, or something like that. I'll decide. You're German, right? Aren't you? Or am I thinking wrong? Look at that. There's a no-fly zone, but they're failing to enforce a no-fly zone. It's incredibly how still that fly actually sat, despite him moving his head constantly. I mean, to be fair, I don't even think I could feel it flying ahead of like that. Yeah, it means armor. Yeah, but I know it does. Right? I mean, I really, at the same time, I just, I don't really care. Call it whatever the fuck you want. Yeah, I mean, the whole like, oh, it's a reference to the war. No, it's not really. I just think it's a name. It doesn't really matter. Germany's on our sides now, and they're not going to be attacking any European country anytime soon. So, well, except Russia, but no. Yeah, I'm gonna be right back. Give me 1 second. Oh, hello there. Am I saying desire, desiri, or desire? Can I don't know. Region in Zaporizhia exploded here. Well, it didn't explode. It was an explosion in the region. The whole region didn't explode. The whole region. Yeah, just everything in that region gone. No, no, that would be terrible. Absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. It is rather terrible. We have. Well, I'm not even gonna. I'm not even gonna attempt that. Desari. I don't know. I'm gonna call you Desire, and you're gonna live with it. Live with it. I'm really bad at like pronouncing names that aren't, strictly easy to pronounce. You haven't seen the map described in a week? Yeah, I mean, me neither. I did see that the map had been turning quite red for the past, I don't know, days and a while as well. But yeah. Yeah, I haven't really myself seen it as quiet as we're seeing it now. It's continued to be very, very quiet. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, it's not that I don't want to just say your name. I just really cannot. Yeah, suspicious. I mean, we're still seeing the chances of Russia preparing for something. So I mean, they could be trying to save some ordnance for the possible attack that they've been talking so much about preparing for. Yeah, but I really don't know. I mean, who Yeah, but I mean, we'll have to, of course, keep an eye on it. I mean, they're continuing to do stupid stuff. I mean, if it's so quiet, and the quietness is explained by the factor if they're getting ready for something. We talked about it earlier in the stream here. Uh, you know, can we not expect a possible attack from somewhere else? I mean, is Russia preparing to attack from another place? I do see that there are maybe some sort of stationed soldiers near the Kharkiv region. Certainly wouldn't be a strategically stupid attacking in the Kharkiv region again, but at the same time, I don't really see why. I mean, I could see an attack happening somewhere else a lot smarter, but if they are going to be attacking and trying to retake the Kharkiv region to possibly get behind the front line, which is maybe what they're trying to do, stretching out those front lines a bit more. If that's what they want to do, and if they're getting ready for it to be a massive, massive attack, I mean, I can't, discount it. I mean, if we're hearing about it and we know that it might actually happen very soon, or at least some time from now, we obviously don't know when, but it seems to be maybe just right around the corner. You know? You know? Hmm. Trump really frustrated, pissed off at the judge final realization that the situation no control, and the judge for incident for now 3-time arrest. He said it's persecution, or yeah, persecution. uh Yeah, man, I think what's happening here with Trump is that he's actually arrived. I think it's in San Francisco, L.A. or San Francisco, or somewhere along that line. He's arrived in that area, and he before his court hearing, or his judgment day, or possible arrest. I mean, I just don't know what exactly they mean about with arrest. I mean, you can't really put that man behind bars, can you? Because in reality, he has so much money, and he still has friends, obviously, who possibly, I don't think he would ever actually happen to go into jail. I think he would possibly go to one of those jails that possibly isn't really a jail, but one of those jails that is treats you very nicely. I mean, he might stay there for a month, and then they say, "Oh yeah, that was it." It was just pretty much just a vacation or something. I mean, I really don't know. This is kind of a weird way to put it, but you gotta imagine to yourself that these guys are sometimes they're too big to put down, right? And thinking, man, in many ways it's sad, but in other ways, unless they're caught doing something very, very illegal. I mean, if they kill a person, they're obviously gonna go, you know, to jail, because you can't kill a person despite who you are. But these sort of cases where it's like prostitution prostitution or stuff like that, or things like that, and they're too big to fall, and they're too important, and all that stuff. You can't really put away people like it. And it's in a weird way. It's weird, but a federal hotel, exactly, and a federal hotel in fucking Hawaii or something like that, some exotic place, right? some sort of exotic. I mean, that's what happens, The Wolf of Wall Street. You don't know if you guys know that guy. When he was put in jail for his his extreme amount of frauds. I mean, he was a fraud, a scammer, right? He was put in jail because of all that. But the jail he was put in, he was treated like a fucking king. I mean, he was, famously when he came in, he said, "Oh yeah, I forgot I was rich," I forgot I was rich, and he was put in this jail where he was playing tennis, and he was having. He said, "Oh, I'm actually having a good time." And we got a P8 just outside Israel here, doing some looking around there. Maybe some exercising. Maybe I don't know. The Wolfie of Wally Streety. He's still around today. Um, what's his name? His real name is Mark. No, no, Jordan. What's his name? Jordan something. Jordan Belfort. There we go. Yeah, Jordan fucking Belfort. That's his name. The man, the myth, the legend, and the crook. Right? No, Leonardo DiCaprio was the guy who played him. Leonardo DiCaprio is the guy who played him in the movie. Jordan Belfort, he played Jordan Belfort in the movie. I don't think Leonardo DiCaprio went to jail because of tax fraud or economic fraud. I hadn't heard about that. I mean, that's a new one. My name is Jordan Belfort, and at the age of 26, I became the richest man in the world. No, he didn't, but he said at the age of like 26, he was earning 29 million. And he said, "Oh, that's because it really pissed me off because I was, a million away from being 30 million." I mean, he was earning a lot of money. He did become a very rich man at one point. Uh, you know, all off the backs of others. The thing about it was that he was pretty much ripping the money off other people, and he was ripping the money off the rich, and well, ripping it. Well, he was in many ways. You ever seen the movie? Well, all I gotta say is, if you do choose to watch The Wolf of Wall Street, it's very graphic in the way that there's a lot of nude scenes. I mean, if you like Margot Rabbit, Robbie, right? She's in that movie, and she's well, very undecent in many clips, But yeah, I mean that's one thing you gotta look out for if you do want to watch it. There are a lot of naked, especially women. You know, yeah, but you know, it's Hollywood. Yeah, I've put a disclaimer about it. Don't watch around kids. I wouldn't want to watch that movie around kids. I certainly, put a disclaimer on that. Put want to watch that around kids. Yeah, I remember watching the first time. I was like, holy fucking shit! Is that cocaine? There's a lot of drugs in it as well. A lot of drugs. Like a lot. It got to the point where I was like, oh, maybe this is too much. Look at this. Now, what we know is that. Sorry. Now, here's what. Well, the funny thing here is that we know that there might possibly be an encampment of Wagner and Belarusian soldiers around this point here, somewhere in this general area. Now, this is a Polish border guard I'm playing here. The reason why I know that is because it's a military and it's from Poland and it's flying along the border. Therefore, it's a military plane that's Polish border guard. You know, if you wanted to know. Yeah. So this is they're keeping an eye on it. They're constantly keeping an eye on it. What they do is that they turn off the transponder when they get there, and then they sort of fly back eventually. But yeah, if they had the transponder on, you can see them go back and forward here for a while, keeping an eye on everything. Yeah. So you know, it's not it's not a high altitude weather enthusiast that goes on a little bit of flight. You know, it says military. If you go on a flight, you don't go and fly just along the border. You fly within the country, right? I mean, that's if you listen. If you go on a flight, right, you don't go out and fly just in between the water. You know, that's yeah. Never that is me time. Oh, with regarding the kids. Oh, right. I didn't understand what you were talking about there. Never time me what? Never time what? Hmm? Talking about? Hey, what you talking about? Oh shit, my bad. There's well, nothing certainly happening at the moment. I mean, other than there lots of watch at that border. I mean, the most tense situations right now is what's going on at that border. You know, the Belarusian and Polish border. Well, the Lithuania and Latvia border as well. But you know, we're seeing definitely more equipment being moved to the area. So can't really say nothing's going on. I mean, you don't move that much equipment and pay that much in bills to move that equipment if nothing was going on. So yeah, I mean, keep calm, keep cool, and be ready. But certainly be ready in a timer's matter, right? The scope of restrictions on Belarus. The UN extends the scope of restrictions on Belarus to prevent Russia from using its neighbor to circumvent international sanctions. Uh, so, what they're saying is now that they're actually sanctioning Belarus, and that was the talk earlier before I went off that. Well, before I went on my vacation that day, we're talking about cutting off the Poland and Lithuania, all those guys are talking about cutting off Belarus to make sure that Russia didn't use Belarus as a Russia didn't, but the EU now has probably agreed with what Poland is saying about how about sorry about how they need to close off Belarus, so Russia couldn't use Belarus as a sort of means to transport things they're not allowed to have inside the country, like microchips and other things. You know, they could use possibly Belarus as an excuse of Belarus saying that they're buying it, and then Russia is actually behind the scenes paying for it. I mean, that's that's what they were. That's what they're possibly thinking most about. P3 now up there. Boom. Well, we got an E6 up. I think the P52 has landed. And we got an E6 up now. Yeah, what up? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah. What up? Oh yeah. Oh baby. Oh baby. That's what's up. Right. If I can dream of a better land where all my brothers are hand in hand, fly me to the moon. Ready? Fly me to the moon. Come on. My voice is pretty much cracking up at this point. It sucks so bad. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Fly me to the moon. Let me sing among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Tell by the way I walk. Think alive. Shit, man, my voice is. I've talked too much today. I probably talked too much. Oh, what was that? Oh, we had air raid slurs turning on here. It possibly sounded like we just heard some kind of explosion. Sorry, in the background here, possibly, or it certainly sounded like something. We got air raids turning on here in Kharkiv. Zaporizhia's been off a while, but we got a new one here in Kharkiv. Not hearing any air raids or air sirens yet. Keep an eye on it. All right. What the hell just happened? I didn't really see that, but I heard it. I mean, it came from what appears to maybe have been Kharkiv or yeah. Oh yeah, here they are. Air raids, Ukraine. It's probably Kharkiv region there. You can see the sound turning on there. So that's very likely that's in Kharkiv that we're hearing air raid signs now going off. Yeah. very weird why it's just that one region right there. I've never seen that before. Could this be the start of the famously talked about attack from Russia? You look up here, Jason, you can see how the sound's going up in Kharkiv. That's the sound right there. The sound is going off. But cameras... Oh, you've been talking about what cameras we have in Kharkiv. What cameras do we have in Kharkiv? That's in Kharkiv. That one right there is Kharkiv. We got... Is it Kharkiv? Maybe only... Oh, that one. That one's also in Kharkiv, but I think they're the same one, actually. Yeah, we only got one official Kharkiv cam, apparently. Probably not gonna be able to catch much on that, but we'll keep an eye on it, of course. I mean, we'll get the response of what happened. I mean, we'll probably get a video if anything does happen. They've been talking about a lot of attacks here, but I don't know. Maybe this is the long-awaited attack from Russia. I mean, this sort of apparently renewed attack or massive attack that they've been talking about in preparations, and Ukraine's been preparing. I mean, is this Russia now launching another go for Kharkiv, or what's happening here? I don't really know. Oh, what is that? That was in Kharkiv right there. That sound right there. But that possibly could have just been wind or some kind of strong wind. But there's not a lot of other winds in Kharkiv, which makes that a bit weird. Well, what's going on? I wonder what's going on. Certainly hasn't been on for a short while. They're going on for a while now. An unspecified type of UAV was observed in the south of Kharkiv region. It's moving towards the regional center of the region. Direction may change. Stay tuned. 1 minute ago, here I have a news here from an unspecified type of UAV was observed in the south of Kharkiv region. It's moving towards regional center of the region. Direction may change. Stay tuned. There's still air raids going on back there. Holy shit. We're talking about an unspecified type of UAV. My god. Why the fuck is my phone all wet? Please don't do that now. Please. Yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know, a UAV is an unnamed area vehicle. Yeah. A UAV unidentified type was spotted in the south of Kharkiv. This is from Flash now. Moving towards the regional center of the region. This was reported by the Air Force of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Alright. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Keep an eye on it. I mean, we may have already heard it. Oh, what's going on there? What's this guy showing that? Oh, shit. My bad. I was all the way back. My bad. I was like, why is that guy showing that? Seems that the air raids have turned off now. I mean, did it happen? Did it land? What happened? Is it still going? What's happening? More sound there in Kharkiv, possibly wind. And a fixed eye on this area right here. No updates. No updates as of right now. No updates. Drones, apparently. UAV drones, I mean unmanned vehicles. Or flying vehicle, area vehicles. Apparently is what we're maybe hearing or being reported. Yeah, I think there's strong winds in Kiev. But I just don't know. They're talking about UAV and now it's just not landed in the region. I mean, is it not being reported yet? What's going on? Right? I mean, apparently some kind of unmanned vehicle or some kind of drone was going down. And now, we're just not hearing or seeing anything, really. I don't think can't be false news. I mean, there's 2 people who reported on it. 2 people I count as being quite trustable sources. I mean, these guys sometimes they jump the gun, but they seem to me that they're quite trustable. I mean, I happen to think that they're quite trustable. Нет, 60, давай. Шабара. Nothing. I mean, now it's just complete radio silence. I mean, now nothing's happening. I mean, a second ago everything was happening, and now nothing's happening. I mean, some kind of I've got no idea. Oh shit. Nothing. Yeah, it's now I'm sitting here trying to figure stuff out, but apparently nothing. I think I was hearing about a story not how true it is. Ukrainian women apparently are using, well, fake images not only, but they're also trying to, well, they're tricking the Russians. They're making they're making profiles on popular apps like Tinder and stuff like that. Um, Apparently, they get in touch with Russian soldiers, and they make them give their location. Like literally, like they like giving, like they literally make them give out their location by kind of flirting with them, or trying to like, oh, we can do that, or talk about how we want to, engage in sexual activities or stuff like that. Is anti-submarine. Its secondary roles include, holy shit, include, one second, yes, include search and rescue, mine laying, and detection of long-range marine surveillance. The Atlantic can carry either guided SAV torpedoes, such as, oh, we have a French anti-submarine called the Atlantic up as well. Oh, now we got more air raids turning on, but I don't see an area. Possibly this area right here in Dnipro. Look at that. It's probably. Oh, an all clear siren. Sorry. Yeah, sometimes I keep forgetting those are a thing. Yeah, these are all clear sirens is turning on now. I'm gonna turn off immediately there. Yeah, and all clear from Kharkiv. Possibly the UAV was called off, or didn't work, or was shut down, or yeah, possibly shut down. Hopefully, we can hope for the fact that it was shut down. Yeah, I think like the chances are that if anything was to have happened, they must have successfully shot it down. Which is always a good thing. It's been a very quiet night. I mean, when you think about it. In many ways, it has been a very quiet night because usually around 2 a.m. we get, in Ukraine time, we get a lot of the map turns on, and there's a prime time for attack from Russia. Well, that's not what we're seeing here. We're not seeing a prime time for attack at any point right now. We're just not seeing anything. I mean, there's very, not very often that I see pretty much the whole of the map. I mean, you still have the Luhansk region, but that never turns off, and obviously Crimea never turns off. But the most active areas that never turns off is now off, and we usually don't see them. Usually we see them all on, but no, I mean today they're just not on. And apparently Russia's either delaying attacks or being disrupted by the Ukrainian army or something like that. I mean, if whatever is happening. Possibly they may be preparing for something, or they are simply just running out of things to fire at them, and now they're trying to sort of maybe redo some of what they have, and maybe go through the inventory, But yeah, that I think is what might be happening. But anyways, I am gonna be leaving you guys. Holy shit, I think that one just fucking. I'm gonna be leaving you guys. Oh, come on. Oh. One second. Sorry. The whole thing is just lacking the hell out of everything right now. But I'm gonna be leaving you guys now. I'm tired, and I'm gonna need to turn off this PC because it is just not running very functionally. But tomorrow I'm gonna be back with a stream that I'm gonna leave open. But yeah, I'm gonna have to use this computer for. I just got back and I need to do some things. So yeah, have a good night. Yeah, I would say, and we definitely had a good stream here. We were able to cover the things that I did not cover while I was gone, and yeah, well, hopefully, the factor is we're still alive and everything is good. Well, in sense it is good, but in other ways, no, you're not. But you guys have a good night, and I will see you on the flip side. Goodbye.